How's it going, my fellow Raiders? This is the Deaf Raider with my very first interactive video for you guys. As this one's gonna be a dive into the backstory a little bit and what it's like being a mostly deaf gamer. So, start off by answering some of the most common questions I get. Yes, I'm actually mostly deaf. You can see my hearing aids on my channel. And on top of that, we'll add the other common question, were you born with it? Um, no. It's genetic. So I was born with the gene, but I didn't start losing my hearing until I was about 14. Found out at my next annual hearing test when I was 15. Um, so that was about a quarter of my hearing gone in that first year, and then it's just kind of been a slow decline since, little by little. Sometimes it's stable for a little longer periods of time, and then it drops just a little more. Just kind of is what it is. Genetics is unpredictable, so I don't know its really full pathway, but we'll see how it goes. You might see some of that journey change a little bit throughout this channel. You might see me as not just the mostly, but the fully deaf gamer at some point with cochlear implants in the mix, but I'll cross that bridge when I get there. So some of the things I want to dive into today are going to be the stuff I have to deal with that you might not have to. Cool. And my audio settings, the things I have to do with that, etc. So I'm going to start with headset selection. I need to try them on. They need to be the right shape. I have to be picky with them. Those types of things are important because if I don't have the right fitting headset, if it doesn't cup over my ears and fit with enough room over my hearing aids and can stay secure without shifting around a lot, I will get really bad feedback, just basically a screeching sound in my hearing aids, and that gets really annoying, and you can't play like that. So that's one thing I have to keep in mind. Right now, I'm rocking a HyperX Cloud 3 wireless, Cloud 3 wired headset, and it's a phenomenal headset. I love it. The drivers are really big. It's a 53 millimeters, so it's got pretty good sound quality, yeah, and volume, especially. I'll get into that in a minute. And the mic has a little bit of noise canceling, so that solves some of my issues I was having with my old one. Um, yeah, so the things I gotta deal with that is I pretty much just throw it up 100%. My stuff's loud. My wife will hear my headset walking into the room sometimes, and yeah, my hearing aids tone stuff down, so I have to boost to make up for that sometimes. So that does play a part in it. Um, is it the healthiest thing? Maybe not. To be perfectly honest, I don't know. So don't try these at home, kids. This is just kind of what works for me. But yeah. And then I can even hear him when I set him down on my little hanger for him on my desk. So I'll have to turn the knob down on him while I get up to use the bathroom, grab a drink, grab a snack, any of that. Just what I gotta do so I'm not disturbing neighbors or having it blast loud when it doesn't need to, etc. Then just crank it back up when I put them back on. Um, and basically, I have to fine tune everything that I use audio for. So, like, I'll go into my audio settings here. Or, first off, night mode. Recommend it whether you are hearing impaired or not. That enhances the audio, makes stuff a bit louder, the works. Something about compressing files, I don't know all the technicalities behind it, but it's solid for you headphone users. do turn that on, your experience will be quite different, I promise you. And then we got master volume. I didn't even touch that. I just left it where it was. That was the default, pretty certain. And effects volume, I gotta balance that out because I need to be able to hear people. I also need to hear my environment. Also, loud background noise makes it difficult to hear people, whether they be on Discord, in party chat. Prox chat's not as high of a priority for balancing because their volume's gonna vary. People are gonna vary. Some people are harder to hear than others, regardless of how loud they are for me. So that just kind of is what it is. So effects, that's what I found to be a good balance point for me. Your experience obviously may vary, but that's been a good balance point for me. And then music, I always got turned down a bit. I do love hearing music, and I enjoyed hearing the different soundtracks and everything. So I have that turned down to 20%, where it's enough where I can still hear it good, but it's still more in the background. It doesn't get in the way of hearing everything else I need to. Dialogue, I cut that down pretty decent. I'll probably actually cut that down a little more. Too low, and then I'm struggling to hear the words, and it's a little more distracting. But I need it just kind of like that balance as well, where it's not overpowering when we load into a match and my friend or teammate is trying to talk to me, and I'm having a hard time hearing them and have to make them wait a minute for the darn dialogue to change. So that's been a good spot. I may tweak that just a little bit, but I think that's alright where it's at so far. Been working for me. Party chat voice volume. You'll notice these get cranked up a decent bit. 175%. You may be thinking, wow, that's a lot. I'll tell you, it is, because I have a lot of hearing loss. And speech is where things get difficult. Because, hearing aids aren't like glasses. You don't throw them on and suddenly you can just hear perfectly in this main area a lot better. Which, I mean, you do hear a lot better, but when it comes to speech, different letters and different sounds in words have different frequencies. So if I miss like one little part or catch one part a little wrong, that one letter or two can change a whole word because your brain will try to make up for it and be like, I think I actually heard this when it's something completely different. So that little bit can throw off whole words. And then you get a few words in a decent sized sentence. Suddenly that changes the whole sentence. You see where I'm going with this? So I need to be able to catch that good. And it's hard to do it a little more specific, so that just tends to be a good all around for people where it's not overbearing, but also loud enough where I can catch people to the best of my ability. Often in Discord, I'm going into the group chat stuff and all that, and I'll adjust each individual person. So someone that talks a little quieter might be set to 150%, while someone that talks a little louder, they might be 125. Someone that talks really soft, they might be at like 175, but not as often. But that's the nice thing about Discord. I get to fine tune every person individually, and it saves for each person individually rather than going in here and having to adjust proximity, especially with it being volumes varying throughout how far they are, etc. I just cranked that. All the way, 200%, because especially some people talk quieter. Some people have accents that are a little harder to hear for me. Some people got a mic that's not as clear. I can't read lips or anything in this whole thing. It's like watching TV without subtitles. It just kind of is me doing the best with what I got. And so I try to set myself up for as good of a success as I can. One little thing is that might be a common question as well, or something you might be thinking of, is directional sound. Some people with hearing loss have a harder time with that. I thankfully do fairly well with that, especially with these nice headphones I got. They're very good with directional sound, and my hearing aids are pretty high end, so those help a lot too. Not always perfect with it with some things like sirens and such in real life, but so some of that can sometimes implement into games. Um, but often I do fairly decent with it. You'll be able to notice some more of these things as you see more of the gameplay, hopefully. And but yeah, that's some of the main things I can think of. Um, there are some things that I can miss regardless. Most of my hearing loss is in the higher frequencies, so some things like Raider caches, I didn't know those made noise for the majority of the time I was playing. And till one of my buddies and I were running a game, and he was like, "Hold up, I hear one of them. I want to try to find it." And I'm sitting here like, "They make noise?" Yeah, that little high pitched thing. I can sometimes hear them if I'm pretty much in a calm environment. There's like no background noise whatsoever. I'm basically standing on top of it, and I really focus on it. I have to really focus on it. And then sometimes I hear it. But there's little things like that I won't know are a thing until someone tells me. Just like feedback with my OBS settings while I've been streaming and stuff like that. And I need to rely a lot on you guys for your feedback midstream as I was first starting and setting stuff up. I took a good time after my first or second one to watch a video, really dig into the settings, do a little test, and try monitoring it and hearing myself, and then getting more feedback the next run. And so far they're doing pretty good. But if at any point, some things just aren't sounding quite right, something you think might be able to improve, let me know. The feedback like that helps me. And the little things that I might not catch that you might throw into the chat and be like, "Hey, I hear that little thing." Do it. Do it. I love that kind of thing. So I've hoped that this has been very informative for you and given you a little bit of insight at least into what this type of thing is like. If you're wanting to learn more, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more things like this, let me know as well. If there's anything that you think I could improve on, if there's things that you want to see more of, there's things you want to see less of, things that could use a little tweaking. I'm still getting into video editing and learning how to do that. I'm still very fresh to content creation, so I'm just kind of rolling with it and hoping for the best right now. In the end, I'm doing this for fun, you know, so I'm just enjoying myself. But I hope you are enjoying it too, and that you'll join in for the fun on one of my next streams. I tend to be on the weekends, around 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tend to start around then and just kind of go till I feel like closing it out. Uh, that sometimes Saturdays or Sundays are a bit of both, but tends to be on Saturday at least, if not also Sunday. And then if you want to see more streams, I can do sometimes around like the 1 a.m. Eastern Standard. If anyone here is going to be up for that, let me know. Let me know if there's times that work better for you. That might be a good amount of you would be interested. I can look at trying to adjust my schedule a little bit. And let me know those types of things in the comments. What you wanna see more from me. Hey, I wanna make this channel big if I can. In the end, I'm having fun. It would also be nice to get this channel big and get monetized, kind of run with that dream a little bit. But hey, in the end, is what it is. I'm here to have fun. So, and I hope you come in and join in on the fun next time. This has been the Deaf Raider. Y'all have a good night, folks.